in for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, the ball falls to Buckley. One-on-one with Etheridge. What a save!
Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrat.
Ball comes in, a good head! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge! Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0! Burzma, but then for Vlasma! 3-0! Stewart Heights with a shot! Upper 90 and in!
Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos.
Mario Canoe now finds Sock. Finds Sock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it! It's in! The Red Hawks equalize!
All right, I'm now joined by the head coach of Milford boys and girls soccer program, Mr. Tommy Hipple. Tommy, welcome here to MSN for the first time.
Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. So let's talk about your team. You know, last year you guys finished second in the Lakes Valley Conference, falling short in overtime to Walled Lake Northern. But now this year, currently sitting in first in the Lakes Valley, had a chance of a rematch against Walled Lake Northern here back on the 9th of April, won that 1-0. How's your season going so far?
It's going well. Just like some of your other interviews, it's trying to stay healthy. We had an early stretch where we've been down 3 or 4 starters. So getting a few back, it was good to beat Northern at their house, where we lost last year, 1-0. Great team. Got a great group of seniors that are leading I have a lot of freshmen too, so they're making them feel comfortable.
Very, very cool. Now, granted, you guys also fell short last year in districts to Walled Lake Central. Yep. Again, arguably your best season last year, 11-3-3, 6-0-2. You're off to an 8-1-0 start this season. Is that the experience of this roster coming back a big reason as to why you guys are having the success?
Yeah. So the senior girls came to me in November and they were like, "This is our goal," especially after last year. You still had that taste in your mouth. They got that close. And they've been working hard since early November. So on the goal of winning the LVC and going from that point.
Very cool. If you had some to talk about the players on this team and really the dynamic, what brings them all closer together, what would that be?
So I've been blessed with this group for pretty much all of them have been with me since their freshman year. And a lot of them played as rec league players together, then moved up and either played Jags or Hawks together. So we got 2 of our players back that were playing ECNL. So it's nice to have their leadership back this year. And they're playing at the next level. So with Riley Felton playing at Cincinnati and Allison Hooks playing at Miami of Ohio, just that experience, that just being able to calm the team down. So it's been really good.
So, you are the boys coach. You've been doing that for 12 years, girls coach for 11. We're seeing this trend around the state of Michigan where schools aren't having both a head coach do both programs. Trying to have that separation, because when a coach leaves, then ultimately you lose a coach for both teams, and that's the thing that I think that high schools are facing these challenges across the state. But when you look at the differences between coaching the boys and then the girls, because there's a significant difference in how you manage players, what has been the hardest thing that you've had to how to navigate the difference between the girls and the boys?
So the boys, you kind of get blessed with having the summer workouts, and then you kind of flow right into the season. Theirs is actually it's an easier transition to get started. With the girls, I have so many multi-sport athletes that it's tough sometimes I don't see them until tryouts. So it's a little tougher transition. And then the spring is, as spring coaches will say, it's brutal when you go from you start, then you have spring break, then you have prom, then you have graduation, all these other things going on. If you don't have a core that's willing to stay together, it's a tough season.
Yeah, I could only imagine. Again, you're very correct, because as soon as school ends in June, it's like go time for boys soccer, right? It's like
Yep.
you can start working out with your team at that point in time with the ball, and then obviously during the course of the winter you can work out with your team. But that's again indoor soccer where you're going into a facility, you're playing a couple games here and there, but it's not the same level that you get when you're with the boys in the summer. So those challenges. And then, of course, the Michigan weather, right? Michigan weather, obviously you guys are on a turf field out there in Milford, but the reality is that for a lot of state teams on the west side of the state and up north, they don't have that ability to get out there and play as much in the early spring because of the weather. And we're seeing it right now, beautiful weather right now, right? 78 degrees. Obviously it rained last night, but it's beautiful weather right now, but that could turn here, pretty quickly. So, how do you manage, because I would imagine that the ups and downs of a spring season, right? It's one thing to manage, injuries that's going to come, right? That's why you have a JV team, right? You're going to try to find players that are going to fit in and slide in and out. And it's great that they have this 3-half rule now, right? Where
Yes.
Before, if a player didn't get in a JV game or varsity game, you could slide them in someplace else and get them more playing time. But how do you manage the ups and downs? Because the players, they're the ones who have to also go through it. It's frustrating as a coach, but I'd imagine as a player, you get things rolling, stop, get things rolling, stop, right? How do you manage that as a coach in this environment?
So this is the first time that I didn't have a game before spring break, which was nice. We went to Grand Valley and did the scrimmages out there, so it was nice to get on the west side. We played Granville out there, and then we played Skyline. So it was good competition. And then we have a half a week, and then people leave for spring break, and then we come back, and then it's like, all right, now the season's going, and it's been 2 or 3 games per week, go. And like you said, the weather here just throws you will be in parkas one day and shorts and a short sleeve shirt the next. I guess that's what they call it, the love of Michigan out here. And but yeah, it's frustrating. The girls get frustrated with the weather, but you just got to manage it and move on.
Well, that you do. You guys have scored 39 goals, is what I can see so far, and allowed 5. Now, granted, one of those games was against Bloomfield Marion, obviously, one of the top teams in Division II. And I think that when we start talking about the difference between Division I and Division IV, that's a significant difference. You're talking about a student body count of 250 up to 400 kids. But Division I, Division II, there's not a significant difference in the amount of talent that might be available in a program. So, when you play a Marion, that's very similar to playing a really tough opponent in Division I, right? It's not the same thing as going to Division IV. It's just different. So that loss it's a good loss. It's and obviously no one wants to lose 4-0. But you look at that, and then the other goal you guys gave up this year was against Walled Lake Central. So in 2 games you've allowed 5 in 5 games, but I mean 39 goals is what you guys. I'm sorry, 39 goals you scored, allowed 5. That's pretty impressive. Considering the amount of games you've played.
Yeah.
You have I believe in there with 7 shutouts, 6 shutouts. So I said 7 shutouts. So the games that you one game you lost, other game you won, allowed 1 goal. So you've playing some good defense and to get some good offense. So talk about that a little bit.
So of course, me being a defensive coach, I take a lot of pride in that, and especially last year we had a lot of shutouts too, and kind of like a rotating goalkeeper. So that means even more to us. Of this year, I have a freshman goalkeeper. Last year, I had a senior volleyball player that stepped in for me. So we pride ourselves in making sure there's no free shots. And then on the other side of the ball, offensively, I think I'm up to 8 different girls have scored this year. So that's the one blessing, is we're not relying on 1 or 2 girls to score. So that part's been really fun to watch. Just the ball movement and the trust between the seniors, and now a couple of the freshmen are scoring. So it's really nice on that end.
And obviously the one thing that when you start talking about championship teams, right, and when you start getting into the districts and getting into that, there's and you probably know this as a coach when you start talking about winning a district championship, going on even further than that, there's a lot of things that have to go right. Right? It's not just having a good team, right? Because there's a lot of teams out there that you could say arguably should go all the way every year, and then ultimately they don't. And there's a reason why. It's not just because they weren't good enough. It's because, hey, the ball just didn't bounce their way on that day. The weather played a factor. Hey, sometimes the referees play a factor in that. The health of a team, all of those different factors. But, when I ask a championship coach, the questions I'm about to ask you is there a moment, or you can look at this season and say, or last season, where you say, you know what, things started to click. I started to recognize that. And are you seeing some of those clicking points now as we're, in this nine games into a season, 10 games in, where you can say, this team could be special?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what I said earlier of the girls not having to rely on one. And a lot of times, especially with us, because we're one of the smaller D1 schools, so we don't get the 24, 25, 30 club players that are, at that top level. So when you have that one, you're like, all right, we got to rely on this, got to rely on this. And I think the girls now know that, no, we need to rely on the team. And it kind of clicked last year. And I think this year with everyone motivated in November, it's worked really well. And to see how they've come together and cheered each other on. I think that's been awesome as a coach to be able to see.
No, I could imagine. And, they also say defense wins championships, right? There's a lot of sayings out there. We don't have to go into all of those, but there's a lot of different ways to describe how a team can get to but hey, you're rolling right now in the Lakes Valley Conference. And again, you're in that conference alone, I think now, are those all considered league games except the Marion game?
Yeah. So we've played, what have we played?
Well, Farmington is not in the Lakes Valley, but in Livonia, Churchill's not in Lakes Valley either. No. So you've played.
We played 7
and 1.
6 games. Yep. So we played 6 because we play 8 league games. We only play each other once, and then we play a tournament at the end.
So based on this, you've already won the Lakes Valley Conference.
So we beat Northern. They've only lost 1, so we have 2 more games to play. So
you still have 2 more games to play.
Yeah.
So then that makes us say website's off a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Okay, well, good to know. Well, I don't want to put anything. We're not going to say anything else about that, though. That's I call that a commentator's curse right there. So I'm going to try not to. But either way, hey, my last 2 questions, the final 2 questions. We'd like to have some fun. We talked about this a little bit, but in regards to keeping the team, on the same page, and obviously with the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations of the spring season. What is one of the things that you have implemented at Milford to help keep your team, not only cohesive on the field, but also on the field?
So, we kind of have these days where, we'll go in the locker room and someone will tell a story or someone will tell something that, no one knows. Just a little bit of team building of what people like to do outside of soccer. What do we like to do? Like, what does your family like to do? What does this like to do? And simple walks, like we're blessed with having Dairy Queen right down the road. We take our walks and we'll go Dairy Queen and just to be able to relax, because as we talked about the spring, there's just so much going on, and just to be able to take the edge off and the anxiety of school, the anxiety of going to college, and just to have a little bit of fun.
I think distractions could be the word, or distraction could be the word to use to describe spring season. My last question. We ask this question of a lot of our first-time guests. It's food related. We talk about food a lot during our broadcasts and whatnot. We love food. I love food. So if today was the last day on Earth, and obviously that's a very morbid question, but you had a choice to pick your final meal, what would it be?
Oof. Oh man, there's a lot of different routes there. Because I love my pizza, I love my buffalo chicken wraps. I think I'm gonna have to go with the buffalo chicken wrap with some waffle fries and little cider ranch.
Okay. Is there a place that you get that buffalo chicken wrap that's a place that you like to go to, or is it just, hey, it doesn't matter, I'll take it?
No, I think the best one, hands down, is at the Red Dog in Milford.
Wow. Okay. Little shout out to Red Dog in Milford. And I'm assuming they come to waffle fries there at the one.
Oh yeah, you can get the the upgrade for the waffle fries. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Hey, Tommy, thank you very much for joining us here today. We wish you and your Milford side here much success here the rest of the way, and hope to maybe see you here in June, maybe in Lansing.
I would love that. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you.